Hello and welcome back to another video on high altitude investing. My name is Dallin Anderson. Today we are going to be doing analysis on MetisDAO. Before we get started though, if you aren't a subscriber to this channel, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, as well as sharing these videos with your friends. And without further ado, we'll get straight into today's video. Okay, so we're looking at MetisDAO here on the 3-day candlesticks. And you guys can see here that we do have a complete market cycle. So we have 5 waves up and an ABC correction down. And this market cycle is a spitting image of the Wall Street cheat sheet, pretty much at least. So let's go ahead and look at the Wall Street cheat sheet real quick, because it's super helpful in this case. So the Wall Street cheat sheet is an example of a market cycle, the human emotional psychology that always occurs in every single market cycle. So let's go ahead and pull this chart up here and look at it. So there's always that phase of euphoria where people get excited, and that phase of depression where people get scared. Let's go ahead and load a different image. That one's all blurry here. Here we go. So there's this euphoria phase of the market cycle where everybody is super excited. And then you get the depression phase that comes shortly after. Now, if we go back over to Metis, you can actually see just how much the MetisDAO chart looks like that Wall Street cheat sheet. So you get that euphoria phase up here, then you get the bull trap, and then of course anger, capitulation, depression, the full cycle. And now we're starting to break out of that depression phase with confidence. You can see that's a pretty big move off of these lows. And really that's because of this major liquidity area down here. Way back when this project first got added to exchanges, when it was worth almost nothing, there was all of this liquidity in this area. Price went way up here and it pulled back down to that liquidity zone. That liquidity zone is just really a lot of times where coins go. The reason a lot of times they go all the way back down 99%, 95%, 85% down is because that's where all of the liquidity is at. It gets overvalued up here and has to come back down actually even lower than its true value, has to become undervalued and hit that liquidity zone before it can turn around. That is what we see here with MetisDAO. So let's go ahead and draw the Elliott wave count here. You can see a 1, 2. Then you get our 3 wave, 5 wave up here. Then we do get an A, B, and a C wave correction back down. So that's a complete market cycle. All of the Elliott waves perfectly in place here. And that's why we started a new cycle, because we completed the previous cycle. And now we're kind of watching for MetisDAO to do a bigger picture reversal. So a lot of times people don't expect that reversal to take place. But if you understand the market cycle, you're going to see this pretty clearly. You're going to see this set up really easily. If you don't understand the market cycle, it's probably not going to make any sense to you. So going back over to this Wall Street cheat sheet, you can see how there's actually colors. There's a red, there's a blue, there's a green, there's a yellow, and then there's a red again. And it cycles, it starts over and over again. So as you go out of that depression phase, that really oversold section, you start to get into that disbelief phase of the market cycle. That disbelief phase of the market cycle, generally, even though price is moving up, people still are skeptical. That's why it's called the disbelief phase, because people are in disbelief that they're going to see a big move up. And so you get this 5 waves up, you get this ABC correction back down. And of course, in preparation for what is coming, you start to go back up again, but people don't believe that that's a market cycle. They don't believe that a new cycle has started. So what ends up happening here is you get 5 waves up, ABC correction back down. Then you get the first beginning signs of a new cycle. People get skeptical, they get scared, but a lot of times price just keeps shooting up. It can go pretty high. Wave 2 could pull back a little bit here. I don't want to talk about exactly what's going to happen in the short term because that's not the point of this video. But you start a new market cycle. You start impulsing. You get a 1 wave, a 2 wave, a 3 wave, a 4 wave, and you start impulsing. You start new Elliott waves. And that's exactly what MeidasDAO is doing right now. It completed a cycle. It's come out of that depression phase. It started to go up a little bit, but the general public are still skeptical about crypto. And so therefore, a lot of people are missing out. A lot of people aren't invested. A lot of people are worried about other things. But right here, and here right on your computer or your phone or wherever you're trading is opportunity to be taken. A lot of opportunity. And with MeidasDAO, I think that this $84 is really only the start here of this new cycle. And even if the short term pulls back a little bit, which who cares if it does, that's another buying opportunity. Now, this coin is only worth $84 right now. A new market cycle means the potential for a break above the previous all-time high. That previous all-time high level is not that far away in terms of percentage gain. We're at $84 right now. The all-time high level is only 300% up from here. So it wouldn't take that big of an increase, only 3 times in value, for MeidasDAO to break its all-time high. Now, what happens when a coin breaks their all-time high? Well, that's when we go into this thing called price discovery. You're discovering new prices. You've never been to those levels before, so you're discovering new prices. This is what happened on Injective. For you guys that don't know, Injective broke above its all-time high. Okay? That's price discovery. It's never been up there before. It's never hit those prices before. If we go back over to Midas, you can actually see the same market cycle. There's an ABC correction on Injective here. A, B, C, just like there was on Midas. Then what did Injective do? It broke out of depression phase of its cycle, went into the disbelief phase of its cycle. How many coins do you know that look just like this right now? Midas is one of them. This is the disbelief phase here. And then, of course, Injective shot way up above its all-time high and started going into that price discovery that I mentioned earlier. So with MeidasDAO, I think the same thing is going to happen. I think we are going to find support either at immediate support or that next support zone down right here. Let's go ahead and delete that liquidity zone. So I think we're either going to find support where we're at, or we'll pull back just a little bit more here in wave 2. And then we're going to see a bigger picture reversal and a breakout of that disbelief phase of the cycle and into a new optimism, belief, thrill, euphoria phase of the cycle. What is that going to look like? Well, I think it could look a lot like Injective. where we start to break above that all-time high with confidence, with volume, and really show just how much strength is in the crypto markets right now. So Midas being worth about $84 right now, like I said at the beginning of this video, is pretty undervalued if you consider how much price potential gain it could see in the future. Plus, you realize that it only takes 3x for it to break its all-time high. This could go into price discovery this cycle. If it does, we're going to see prices well above that $350 all-time high level, because price discovery generally means that it's like the dam has broke. If you break that all-time high, the dam is broke. All that water starts flooding, and you usually exceed expectations. So people have expectations of price targets, and a lot of times when you break all-time high, you go into price discovery, it exceeds those price targets that they've set. It's way more bullish than they expected it to be. This is what happened with Bitcoin. When it broke above $1,000 in 2016, 2017, starts breaking out, it went all the way to 20,000. A lot of people were trying to call the top at 5,000, 7,000, 10,000. It didn't top until 20,000. It went way higher than people's expectations. So that's what happens in price discovery. You break expectations. And you really you take off. You really build momentum. And once that momentum is going, it just goes and goes and goes. Like a rock rolling down a hill. Once it starts going, that thing is going. And if you roll a big rock down a hill, if you've ever done this before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Rolling a giant rock down the hill, it starts off a little bit slow, but it doesn't take very long for that rock to hit maximum speed. And it's crushing trees, and you're just glad nobody is down at the bottom of that hill. Right? And that's the same thing with the crypto markets. When you break into price discovery, it's once that momentum gets going in the markets, it's really difficult to stop it. Yes, it does slow down eventually, just how that rock stops eventually. But when it's really at that peak point of speed, of momentum, you don't want to fight it. You don't want to be standing in front of that rock trying to stop it, which is what a lot of people do when they short the market too early, or they take too much profit too early. It's like standing in front of that rock halfway down the hill. So I love Midas DAO. This is a great setup, a great project. I really believe that this is the disbelief phase of the cycle, that it will break out just like how Injective did. That same kind of phase right here on Injective, that disbelief phase before we really start to go vertical here. I think we could be at that same place here with Midas DAO, even if we pull back on wave 2 a little bit more. It doesn't have to. Wave 2 can find support up here. But either way, I think that the sky is the limit for Midas DAO. I think up is the direction we're going to head from here. So yeah, I figured I'd cover this project. It's a really good coin, really good project, and definitely one I think is going to do phenomenally well this bull market. Hey, thank you guys so much for tuning into today's video. I hope you learned something and found value in it. If you did, please share it with your friends and make sure that you are a subscriber to this channel. Also, please check out the website, links in the description box below, for more information on VIP. I look forward to seeing you guys in future videos, and as always, stay profitable out there.